Hello and welcome to the third entry of my Redacted Index game dev diary. Today, following the Gantt chart to the best of my ability, I'll be showing off a small demo of what I have at the moment. Okay, here we are in game. Oh, I threw up by accident. This is a pre-recorded video and I'm just voicing over it. But you can see I'm throwing the tool and retrieving it, toggling the light here. Everything with movement works, jumping, sprinting, crouching. You can look around, you can adjust the sensitivity, but I haven't got an options menu working. You can see there, I've entered A1, so my memories got updated in the top right. It'll come up again if you missed it. See, I'm looking around. This is all going to be just this giant tower of layers. It's kind of hard to describe unless I actually make it, which we'll do in the future. For now, everything's red and temporary. Here I'm looking into my tool memories. I pressed R, usually you would look into the tool. You can see here, I'll quickly show off this bit here with the rebel. Memories updated, covered because it's white, but temporary color. I'm entering the toilet section here, so my memories will get updated again. Nothing here yet. There'll be a basement down there in that hole, but haven't set that up yet. This whole area is partially destroyed because there was a fight between monsters. See, I'm looking through the tool memories, so you can see memory incomplete because there's parts of the node I haven't seen. I can toggle all the text and move it all around. There's a couple assets I've colored here and set up. Not fully done though. See, by the way, you'll notice when I hover over a door, a little open thing will come up in the bottom left. That's from experience because people got confused in my previous game that you couldn't open doors. See here, the basement's not set up. This whole area here would be locked off behind a secret mechanic, but for now I'm just opening it. Here's the final area I've got to show in A1, which is the back room. See a couple assets here I've made. Not fully textured. And here's the note system working. Well, partially working. The canvas doesn't scale properly yet. And I'll go over all the tool memories. You can see those pluses are sub-memories or child memories. Whereas the ones without anything are just the actual base memory. Okay, so here we are on A5. Just wanted to quickly show off the looping stuff in case you've forgotten since last time. The tool still works. Everything still works from A1. All the sprinting, crouching, movement, tool memories. Trains, no progress on them, so you can't really use them at the moment, but it should be quite fast to get them at least teleporting between the scenes. You can see the looping mechanic works with the whole generating new terrain. Yeah, everything here. Tool memories. There you go. That's everything for now. From experience, I've implemented a few milestone points into my schedule, as keeping all the mechanics separated until the last few weeks tends to produce pretty buggy results. This agile method also allows me to make changes to the older decisions I've made that sounded much better than they actually played out when testing them. For example, after implementing a rough version of the trains, I realized that not only will they add a huge amount of extra development time, but they probably also won't actually be very interesting to use. Luckily, since I have a few weeks as a buffer, I have more than enough time to decide how I want to use them in the end. I spent some time remaking A1 from scratch, as I was having some trouble with awkwardly placed blocks, wasting my time with me struggling to align everything. I'm much happier with this version, and it allows me to add and modify sections a lot faster, which is absolutely brilliant. Otherwise, as you can see, the initial design of the layout is still pretty visible. I haven't added the enemies yet, but I am keeping them in the back of my mind. Currently, I'm planning for 4 enemies to wander around A1, 1 guarding the side rooms, 1 wandering around the bottom floor, 1 wandering around the second floor, or maybe hiding in the abandoned shops on the edges, and 1 in the basement layer that I haven't started yet. I've been watching several GDC talks to do with level design, particularly from Brendon and Chung, to do with foreshadowing parts of a level and obscuring doorways, and I've been trying to implement as much theory of that as I can into my game. So far it's turned out relatively well, with those sections undoubtedly being the most interesting, so I look forward to trying to use more of his and other techniques I can find to make my game more interesting. I am though slightly worried about the rate at which I'm implementing the levels, but other than reducing scope, which I've already touched on with the whole A2/A3 thing, I'm not sure if there's much I can do about it. In terms of getting A1 and A5 done, I should still have the time, with some buffer left over, to get those done, but unfortunately I don't think I'll have time for a third section like I wanted, which is slightly disappointing. Other than level design, the majority of the rest of my time went into getting the tool memories working how I want. Flexibility and scalability were my biggest concerns, but I think I've managed to implement it in a way that allows me to combine the static nature of what I want the player to discover in the levels with the dynamic nature of the type of exploration I want in this game. I've achieved this by having a set of hidden nodes that get enabled once the player discovers the location. They're all joined in a parent/child fashion, but through code, and they still have a few kinks left in them to work out, such as how I'm going to have lines connecting them like I wanted originally. It would have been fine if not for the pain of local/global positioning, which is a reoccurring problem I'm having. Recently being inspired by the Backrooms, as I'm showing now, I've solidified my vision for the game's timeline and story and all the progress stuff. Featuring a broken spacetime which is linked to the Silent's backstory as a being that exists simultaneously in the past, present, and future, parts of the world will be distorted as a consequence, as seen in A5 with the looping. Adding more physics, breaking stories, and areas is definitely something I'd like to explore, maybe giving a trains a good use in the future. For now though, I'm sticking to an incredibly simplistic placeholder style for everything, and keeping the game's functionality as my priority, so I can continue to have the choices open, and keeping everything easy to change, whilst delivering on the minimum viable product I'm aiming for. Finally, as you've probably noticed, I've added some decoration assets to a few of the rooms. These are made by me scaling and rotating Unity blocks. I have experience with Blender and ProBuilder, but I generally prefer this method as it lets me make changes quite quickly to the aesthetics, whilst also allowing me to keep the abstract style that I like. I am slightly struggling with maintaining the theme, but I'm sure that's due to inexperience, and over time I'll get better at it. That's all I have for this week. Next week I'll be continuing with level design, polishing some of the mechanics, and hopefully finally implementing some enemies. Thank you for watching.